Welcome back, everybody, to We Talk Film. I'm your host, Barry, joined by Clayton, as always. How you doing, Clayton? How are things?
Hey, Barry. I'm good. Feeling a little bit brutal today.
Just a little bit, yeah?
Just a little bit. I don't know what you would call me if I was feeling that. Like, there must be some term.
I would call you an Oscar winner, good sir.
Oh, yes. Let me spend the next 9 minutes talking about that. Okay, if you haven't guessed by now, on tonight's podcast, we're talking about The Brutalist.
Yes, we are.
And then we're also going to delve into the premiere episodes of Daredevil Born Again.
Yep.
But as always, Barry, it has been fun. We'll get into that later. Before we get into that, throw us on over to the newsroom, Barry.
The newsroom!
There's a lot that's happened. Yes, obviously, the main thing that's happened over the past week or so in the film and TV world, I guess, is the Oscars. That happened.
Right. That did happen.
We watched the end of it together.
Yep. I watched the entire thing.
Did.
That was
I'm sorry.
Interesting. Yeah.
No, it wasn't as bad as some of the
over 1 billion
past
people
years.
did as well, or whatever.
Which is crazy. Over 1 billion people watching it. Went for almost 4 hours. It was 3.5 or something. It was close to 4 actually.
Yeah.
Insanely long show. But yes, I just want to go over some of the awards that were given out for the night. Keep everyone invested. Get our thoughts and opinions on this. So the night opened with the first award going to Kieran Culkin for Best Supporting Actor for A Real Pain. Have you watched A Real Pain yet?
Not yet. It's on my watch list. I was going to actually watch it last night. But it looks interesting, though. I was very interested to watch it.
I've seen it. It is fun. It is probably not what you'll expect it to be. It's not as funny as it seems, and it's very much more of just this kind of depressing drama film.
Oh, okay.
Says a lot, but also kind of doesn't really say as much as I feel like it should have. Kieran Culkin was good in it. I was okay with this award. I personally probably would have given it to Edward Norton, but I was okay with this. Either.
Yeah.
Either one's fine. The next one that I want to mention, Flow, won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
It did.
Insanely cool, considering the amount of people that worked on this film for the price that this film cost. And the films that this film beat, which were like $200 bazillion Disney productions. And
exactly.
I love this. This is such a hope-inspiring moment. That something this small, made by like the tiniest amount of people in a country that
just made on
most Americans don't even know exists. Half the people watching the Oscars didn't know where this country was, and it won the award for best animated film. I love it. That's great. I am so proud of that. I haven't seen it yet. I'm probably going to watch it tonight. Great film. Great film. Okay, then Zoe Saldana won Best Supporting Actress for Emilia Perez. I like her. I haven't seen Emilia Perez.
No, I watched the trailer for it. It looked really good. It's still another movie on my list to watch. There's a lot of films on my movie to watch after this Oscars.
I cannot say if I'll like it. I might watch it. I probably will skip it, considering all the buzz has kind of died down from the Oscars. But I do like Zoe Saldana. She's great in most things. So I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it for her.
Oscar win. Like, she's in the 2 of the biggest films in film history and everything. And this is the first time she's won an Oscar. So
and she didn't even have to get painted green.
Exactly.
Okay. Next one, Adrian Brody, as aforementioned, won the Oscar for Best Actor for The Brutalist, which we will talk about tonight, and we'll talk about his performance tonight. So I don't want to go too much into this one. We might leave this on the mysteries. But oh my god, the guy can yap.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So Sean Baker. 4.5 hours. Sean Baker absolutely stole the show, taking home 4 Oscar wins for just himself. Out of 5 for the film that he did. He got Best Director for Anora, Best Editing, Best Casting. No, not Best Casting.
Writing?
It was Best. It was Best Writing. It's not Best Casting. He probably would have won Best Casting because he cast the film himself. Anyway, and then obviously Best Film went to Anora.
Yes.
So he won 4 of those awards and gave what was probably my most favorite speech of the night, as opposed to Brody's being my least favorite. In which he just kind of yelled at everyone to go to cinemas and support.
You're worse than
film.
me tonight. Damn.
I know. Fumbling over my words. He told everyone to go support film, go support your local films, independent films, just everything. Anora, of course, is it A24? It's A24.
A24, yeah.
but it's still a fairly low budget independent-y film. I say on quotations because it is an A24 film. But he's an independent director. A lot of his work is. I love that. I love this man. I love Sean Baker.
A small independent film done on like a marginally very small budget. I'm just trying to find if I can see the budget for it. Budget was around $6 million.
Yeah,
for that film.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it when films of that level get the recognition that this one has gotten. It's great. And speaking of more Anora wins, Mikey Madison won Best Oscar for Best Actress for Anora.
Yes.
I was a little shocked that they gave it to her, to be honest. I didn't see that coming. This is like her first leading role in a film. Yep. She's done a couple supporting roles. If you scroll down the credits of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you'll see her name. She's in a couple other things. Yeah, but
she was in the Addams Family as a voice.
Nothing of this level, and nothing this impressive because she was the best part of this film, which is a good thing because the whole story of Anora revolved around her. So
you think being called Anora, it would be about her.
Yeah, well, I mean, she won Best Actress, and then of course Anora won Best Picture, which was even more surprising. I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting them to give it to The Brutalist. If anything, I wanted A Complete Unknown to win.
We both wanted A Complete Unknown. I wanted Charlemagne to get Best Actor. Yeah. I wanted Mango to get Best Director. I was like, our dreams were tarnished. Yeah.
But I was okay with this because, before we get into The Brutalist, I liked Anora better than The Brutalist. But I wasn't too hot on Anora either. So we'll get into that in a bit. Go small budget films sweeping the Oscars. All right, cool.
Yeah,
I dig that. But that's kind of it for the news tonight, Barry. That's all I really wanted to talk about.
That's really it. Okay.
That's all I wanted to bring up.
That's the news. I don't know. We don't have an outro song for the news.
Is that the outro song?
That's the outro song. I just did it myself right there. So then, that gets onto our main topic for today, which was a brutal film to watch. Let's play a clip for that.
I promise.
So yes, that was a little clip from the trailer for The Brutalist, a new film that just come out and obviously got a few Oscars this year, one of them being Adrien Brody again getting his Oscar. So the storyline for this one is when a visionary architect Laszlo Toth and his wife Erzsébet flee Europe to rebuild their legacy and witness the birth of modern America. Their lives are changed forever by a mysterious and wealthy client. The seemingly charming industrious Harrison Van Buren offers Laszlo and his family the American dream on a silver platter by commissioning him to design a grand modernist monument and help shape the landscape of the country he now calls home. It will be his most ambitious project of his career, one that Laszlo and Erzsébet both monumental heights and devastating lows. This film was directed by Brady Corbett, which I think is the first ever film I've watched of his, and it was also written by him and Mona Eastwood, and stars Adrien Brody, Felicity Jones, and Guy Pearce, which is always cool seeing Guy Pearce pop up in movies. So where
do I start with this film?
Where do you want to start?
Okay, let's start with the most obvious part about this film, the thing that everyone was talking about since it came out and it was revealed. This film is 3.5 hours long. Which is insane commitment for a movie.
It feels like a 10-hour film.
It drags on and on and on. And I don't want you to think that I'm hating on this movie or that I hated this movie, because I liked this movie.
Yeah.
This movie is full of really good stuff.
Yeah.
But oh my lord, you could have cut half an hour out of this movie and it still would have felt way too long. Um, it's supposed to be a love letter and just kind of get you into architecture and I guess like landscape, scenery, lines. It just throws you into lots of still images for long segments of a time.
Yeah.
Trying to get you, I guess, to appreciate those topics, with the architecture being the main one. Of course, the main guy in this film is the creator of Brutalism as an architecture type, right?
Exactly.
Which is like the worst type of architecture, and I hate to say it because it always looks terrible. So
it just looks like prison cells.
People are praising him for this, and I get that that's part of the point. It's supposed to be based off of that raw emotion and literal prisons being the influence for the work. But oh my god, people really want to put that in their house, and like I couldn't get that. I don't understand that, and maybe it's because I'm not in the position he was and I didn't experience those things. But like as a casual viewer of this film, I just couldn't really go along with that as the premise of why is this guy so liked. He's an asshole. Like he hasn't done anything to justify anything in this movie. It's a little weird. Adrian Brody's performance is really good. I don't know if you want to get into the performances of this film, which I think are the best element of this extremely long watch.
Yeah, that was the only like really driving force for me for this film, was seeing the performances of obviously Adrian Brody and like Felicity Jones and Guy Pearce and everyone else as the supporting cast for it, because everyone did like an amazing job and stuff like that. You can see why he got obviously best support leading actor for it and stuff like that. Even though he wasn't my pick, I still think Charlemagne did a better job. But it was just, this is one of those films where I know everyone loves it and stuff like that, and it was another A24 film. I think it was. Yes. Yeah,
it is.
And it's always comes when it comes down to A24 films, you know that I don't like them majority of the time because I'm just like, they're way too artsy, and this is like another one of those cases where it's just like, this is a 3.5 hour film that could have been an hour and a half, for sure, and like would have been probably better for the average viewer and experience and stuff like that. Because there literally is moments where it's just scenery and stuff like that for like 10 minutes straight, or just him having some drugs and stuff like that for fucking 30 minutes straight, and it's just like, okay. Cool. Yeah. And this is the actual story behind it all and stuff like that. Like I didn't get whatsoever. In a way, like I wasn't really following along with it as to why this was made, why was this story chosen and stuff like that. Like I was going into it because I did like hear a little bit from you about it, about the story, and I thought it was gonna be kind of cool, being like, oh, he escaped Nazi-occupied Germany, coming to America, and it was going to be about all that, because I actually do have family members that were all part of that as well. And it's like, oh, this might actually be a really cool story to see that all happen and stuff like that, and this guy and trying to survive America and the new world, making a job and stuff like that. But it doesn't really do any of that. It's just like he's in America, he's an asshole, he takes drugs. They're like, oh, build big building for me, big rich guy. And then he's just like, I'm going mental because I can't finish my building. And then it took him like 20 years to build this one building, even though he'd never finished it. And
it's a weird thing, because you put this premise on paper, or you show me a broad synopsis like you did, and I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. Like I'm curious to see this story told, because it's not something I am personally familiar with. I didn't know about the origins of brutalism. I knew of brutalism, and I knew what the architecture style looked like. I had no idea who this guy was or where he came from, so I was intrigued to see this story. I'm all for telling stories of people that I've never heard of, that have like are real people and went through history. I love that. One of my favorite genres of films are that. But it wasn't compelling. Like I was not compelled by this character at all. The performance was good. I think Adrian Brody did a really good job as the person.
Yeah.
But I didn't really care about him. Like maybe in the broader sense of the movie, I don't know if it's we spent too much time with him, which is kind of what I'm thinking is the case, is if we maybe spent less time with him and it was more the people around him, or it was just like, I don't know how he was
they shot in the film by like a good hour and a half. I think it would have been more enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. It is long as fuck, and it probably would be a better film if it was shorter.
Yeah.
But I also I'm
with
kind
the
of glad
1 minute
that
intermission.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let me finish my point. And we'll talk about that. So, this film's 3.5 hours long. I'm glad. Like, part of me's glad that it is. Part of me wishes that it was really short because it didn't need to be this long. And that's because this is obviously what the filmmaker wanted to do. He's like, I've got a 3.5 hour film. This is the story I want to tell. These are the things I want to do. And it's taking me 3.5 hours worth of this film to do it. And they let him.
Yep.
And it's become an Oscar nominated thing, Oscar winning thing. It's like
won 3 Oscars.
Yes.
So
hell yeah. I love that. I love filmmakers and directors being able to just have whatever time limit they feel is necessary for this story.
Yep.
And I'm sure he's really proud of it. I don't want to sit through 3.5 hours of this film ever again. But I'm glad that I have. You know, it's one of those weird ones. It's like, watch it and then never touch again. I don't know. It's a little wanky. Okay, so there's a 1 minute intermission, as Barry mentioned before. Why is there a 1 minute intermission, Barry?
I don't get it. I really don't. Do they realize people like won't pause it type thing? And then if you're going to see it in cinemas, which obviously was the case and stuff like that, like, why is it 1 minute then? Like, wouldn't it be a bit
1
longer?
minute in the cinema? Do we know how long the intermission was in the cinema?
I would say it would be 1 minute, because with cinemas and how it works, because they're on a constant schedule and stuff like that, they have to keep that movie running all the time. So they would have been like, here's 3.5 hours, that includes the 1 minute intermission type thing. So that would have been the intermission point. But it's like, it takes longer than a minute for like, go to the toilet, do what you want to do and stuff like that. And then that's the case. Why did you put an intermission in when you could have just like shortened the film to potentially make it even better?
It could have just been a fade to black, and then it goes to like an Act 2 title screen right after anyway.
Yeah.
There's your transition point. It makes no difference. It's just, it feels like they chucked it in to just be artsier.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, we have an intermission.
There was a lot of things about this film that I feel like they chucked in just to be artsier.
I don't know. If it feels like it was just done for the sake of saying that they have an intermission in it, because everyone's like, "What has got an intermission? What film hasn't had an intermission in ages? This is crazy." I don't get that, and I'd love to speak to the director about why that's the case, but I don't think I'll ever get the chance to.
So if the director's watching this right now, why did you put an intermission in there? Please let us know.
I need to know why it's 1 minute long. If it was 15 minutes, hell yeah. Like Lawrence of Arabia has a 15-minute intermission imprinted into the the film itself. It goes for 15 minutes. I watch that and I go up and get food and drink,
because that's a sizable like intermission time. That's like what you put in. Because what, Lawrence of Arabia is 3.5 hours.
It's similar size, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So like that's where you would put like an intermission, like at least 15 minutes type thing.
Yeah. If I'm watching at home, I can pause the movie whenever I want.
You've got a minute to go. That's all the time you've got.
Speed run. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. That's just a weird little nitpicking thing. I just don't get. Yeah. So okay, back to the film, Barry.
Back to the film. Do you want to talk about the music written for this film? Because it won an Oscar for the music, how it was composed and stuff like that. That was actually kind of phenomenal. There are very key moments in the musical score for this where I was just like, oh, that actually like sounds really good. Much so that I wanted to actually put on my Spotify playlist the actual soundtrack for this movie, because that was the one thing I was a bit like, oh, that's actually quite nice.
The score is brilliant. Like I'm the first to admit when music in a film is doing really well. I know that some standouts from last year that were like hinted at Oscars, you had like things like the Challenges soundtrack, this one obviously, and then like all of the musicals that came out. This is definitely deserving of that Oscar. This was brilliant orchestral stuff. Some just like melodies that stick in your head. Yeah, the bah 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 bah. Like, it's got bits that you remember, which is so uncommon in modern soundtracks for film. Because like not everyone's John Williams creating like the most memorable melody every movie. I haven't heard a film soundtrack in probably the last 5 or 10 years that I can recall off like the top of my head right now. It's honestly very impressive.
Well, that's the thing, because the guy that did the soundtrack for this is named Daniel Blumberg, that won it. He has only done 4 things as his career, his entire career. 4 things. So he did a music video back in 2023. He was the composer for. He did a movie. It looks like a short film because it's got no poster or anything like that. He called Anne Lee. Then he did the composing for The World to Come back in 2020, which is another film. And then he did this film.
That's crazy. I wonder how they got him. I mean, I wonder if he was friends with the director or like.
Maybe
like
just like an independent guy and stuff like that.
Whoever this guy is, get him on some more shit. Like, give this guy some budgets. Give him 23 orchestras. Like, let this guy go crazy. Because clearly he's got it. Just this film alone. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I love that. That's great. That's my favorite. I was gonna say So if you have no interest in seeing this movie, but you like music, listen to the soundtrack at least. It's not 3.5 hours long. I promise. And it's far more enjoyable.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. I think the overall thing for it is just like the story, just like it wasn't there for me for it all and stuff like that, and it was mainly like just relying on the key performances of Adrian Brody, Felicity Jones, which Felicity Jones in this also absolutely amazing type thing. I think this is the newest thing I've seen her in since Rogue One. I think it's the latest thing. I still remember when she rocked up in Doctor Who like 20 years ago. That's the first thing I ever watched her. But like this is like the newest thing I've seen that she's done. And she was absolutely phenomenal in this. So much I actually kind of liked her character more than Adrian Brody's character, if I'm being honest, and her performance and everything like that. And same thing as Guy Pearce. I like seeing Guy Pearce like rock up in like just about anything, because obviously another
he does that, doesn't he? He just rocks up.
He just rocks up and does things, and he has like a really cool performance majority of the time, and then it's just like, all right. So yeah.
So there's that. Is there anything else you want to talk about the Brutalist? I feel like we've kind of just over encompassed the entire experience.
Yeah, that's the thing. This is one of those films where it is very artsy. Not the average person is going to see that, and obviously that is going to be a reflection of how much money it's going to make, and especially when you do say it's 3.5 hours as well. Like, not a lot of people will go and watch a film like that. So this was made on a $10 million budget, which is not too bad, and at the moment it's made around $45 million back.
Okay.
So it's made its money and everything like that. So that's still good. And obviously, independent film, right? It's A24 film. But that's the thing with these cases again, very much in my case, where like you have artsy films like this. It's like, yes, it can be done well and everything like that. But I feel like this one, for me anyway, it just dragged on way too much. Even though I'm happy that I watched it, but I would have been more happier if it was only an hour and a half.
Yeah, I agree. This film isn't for everyone. You're gonna love it. You're gonna hate it. You're gonna have no interest in it. It's gonna be very disparaging, and everyone's right. Yeah. I feel like every opinion on this film is true. Whether you love it and you think it's the greatest film ever, 5 out of 5. Yeah, sure, totally, it is. But if you think it's 1 out of 5, boring, couldn't hold a candle to anything else, then sure, you're also right. And I'm sitting somewhere in the middle now.
Yeah.
Because I love it. I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
It didn't grab me. Like I feel like it should have.
Yeah, and I feel like there's like people that it did, and there's like
considering it's 3.5 hours long, it had plenty of time to grab me. And if a film of this length does grab you, it's got you for that entire length. Yeah. And it just didn't quite get there for me, and it is very hard to explain because the performances are great, soundtrack is amazing, the story I wasn't working for me. Just some of the character motivations and stuff it just wasn't clicking all the time, and it was very disparaging. So I guess I can give it a rating now.
I need to give it a rating too.
I think I'm sitting on a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm sitting on a 5.
Okay, 5 and a 6. Yeah. I mean, that's average and above average. I think that's like anywhere on the scale it could sit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's definitely one of those things where, like, yes, the performances like carried it for me personally, and stuff like that. That's why I really did watching it, especially like watching these actors like being best at what they can do and everything like that. But yeah, it was just like 3.5 hours. That's a lot of time, and it just dragged on. That feeling of dragging on, because we've watched films before that have been like 3 hours, and it feels like only an hour, you know. And it's just like films can be made differently. Like maybe that was the intention behind it. I haven't watched too much behind the scenes. I haven't seen any of this director's work before, or didn't really read into much about it all and stuff like that. Still a bit like, I was kind of disappointed. I was hoping it would show a bit more of him escaping Germany and everything like that, or where he came from, sorry, that occupied area and stuff like that. And it just didn't. It was just like, yeah, this is a guy, he's an architect, and then that's it. Like the first part of this film was like, I really liked, and then progressively just got worse for me.
I don't think it got worse. I feel like it just kept going. It was just there's a certain level of investment you have at the start because you're interested in what's going to happen and you're like, oh, where am I? What's going on? And then, of course, over time, you're like, okay, I'm slowly losing interest in this. And every now and then it'll peak back up, and you're like, oh, that's cool, or that's a really good conversation, or, you know, something interesting
because there's a moment where I think it's like 2 hours in, 2.5 hours in, I can't remember, but when he basically, the building that this big massive building that he's doing and stuff like that, he has to like leave and stuff like that because the billionaire's just like, no, you go now, because people died and everything like that. It was like an accident, and then they got put on hold for like 10 years or something like that. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool, but then it was just like 10 years later without saying it was 10 years later. And then it was like, I want you to come back and finish it. And then they finish it all and doing stuff like that. And then like Guy Pearce's character just like disappears one night because Felicity Jones like wants her husband back because it's driving him mad and stuff like that. And it was just like, he disappears. You don't see his body, even though it's presumed he killed himself in the building. But you just don't see his body. Know. That was weird. That was a bit odd.
It has some weird moments.
Okay, I didn't have Guy Pearce for that day.
6 out of 10 from me. 5 out of 10 for Barry. Why don't we move on to the second half of today's podcast, where we're going to be talking about the premiere. The premiere of Daredevil Born Again. Bum, bum.
Yes. I don't have a thing for this one. Sorry. We'll talk about it when the season's finished. We'll probably do like a proper discussion because we've got to give no ratings or anything like that. We're just going to talk about it because it's the biggest thing. Well, it's the first TV show this year for Disney, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the new hotness.
And it hits hard in the first 10 minutes of the show. Are we going to do spoilers or not spoilers?
Spoiler warning for Daredevil and Marvel from here on out. And also, we spoiled the Brutalist too for anyone who was interested in that.
We gotta give them just a.
Okay, do you want to talk about Daredevil first, or should I take it away?
You can talk about Daredevil.
Okay. The first 10 minutes of this were both like really cool and also some of the worst that I've seen out of Daredevil.
Yes.
Okay. First things first, the hugest, worst problem that I have with the show so far is the CGI. Yep. The amount of CGI and the quality of the CGI in this. It honestly, I hate it so much, and it will drop my score if it continues throughout the show.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you hated it that much.
No, I genuinely disliked it so much. The idea, so there's the scene in particular that just really threw me out is Daredevil swinging through the city within the opening minutes of this show. It looks so bad. It looks like She-Hulk level of terrible CGI. It is honestly unacceptable for a Disney production of this budget. Even though they went through like 400 billion reshoots and reshot the first 6 episodes again.
They ran into a Captain America issue.
it still pisses me off because these are the one guys that should be able to fix this, and they don't. They could have delayed this another month and fixed all that. Nope. No, they don't. They don't care. So that I hate that. I hate that so fucking much. Then we get a really cool fight scene between Daredevil and Bullseye. That was a huge
really
highlight.
Fucking cool. That was
from
brutal.
what was very clearly one of the last things that they shot. This was so obviously a late reshoot. Because a lot of the background stuff and the staging and everything was it felt a little rushed.
Yes, yeah.
A lot of it felt very rushed. But it was just cool to see Daredevil kicking some ass on screen again. And Bullseye is amazing. He's like throwing pool balls and they're bouncing and like knocking people out. And that was great. I loved that. Everything else in this opening felt incredibly reshot. All of the character interactions felt like they were written afterwards. I hated that. I hated the way that like Foggy and Karen and that were all talking, and it gave me that, oh look, it's them. But then I was like, hang on a minute, this is stupid. What the hell? Yeah, okay. And then they kill Foggy, which is a huge thing. Yep. I'm like, oh no. I was okay with that. More okay than I thought I would be. How do you feel about them killing Foggy?
I'm fine with that. That was like another thing and everything like that.
You hate Foggy?
I don't hate Foggy. Like in the comics and stuff like that, he's a great character and stuff like that. But for them to be able to continue the show after a 7-year hiatus since season 3 of the Netflix version, which was pretty fucking amazing ending, and how all that got all sorted and stuff like that, because that was really good. And then coming back into this, and then you hear the reports of them, oh, we fired the entire crew and writers' room and everything like that a couple years ago, and then we're redoing it all again and stuff like that. And so far, I was able to get by the shoddy CGI because they probably only like filmed that sequence last year sometime. Okay. Like middle of last year. And
waited
stuff like
to
that.
put the show out.
That's another thing, and this is the same thing with Disney and stuff like that, and we saw it in Captain America Brave New World, is unfortunately, because their schedule's like, no, hurry up, you need to keep going and stuff like that, it doesn't give the CGI artists the time to be able to do their work properly. Because that's the reason why Avatar and everything takes so long to make, is because CGI takes time to do these types of things.
Okay, properly. You know what else takes time? Shooting 6 episodes of a TV show and then deciding that it sucks and they'd want to do it again.
That too does take time.
They're not getting any sentiment from me. I fucking hate that. They shot 6 episodes of a 9 or 8 episode series. As a comedy with no connections to the Netflix series. And it was like a procedural comedy. And then the people behind it went, what the hell are you doing? This is not good. This is not going to work. This is not going to sell. So then they fired everyone and started again.
Yes.
But you know how much money that must have cost? 6 episodes, 2/3 of whatever their budget was, just gone like that. And it's insane. And then we end up with shitty CGI like this. And I hate that so much, because it's, how do you get 6 episodes into this without realizing it's not working?
Well, that's the thing, who greenlighted that originally?
Who said yes? Who said no? I want to be in those rooms and just understand what people were thinking during that 6-episode process, because you must have seen it in the scripts if it was bad and you cared about it being good. I don't know if it got to the point in filming where you were like, okay, hang on, this is not going to sell well. There's enough backlash against wanting the proper Daredevil Netflix stuff. I don't know, because Marvel Studios, not the Netflix guys, the Marvel Studios hated the Netflix shows, especially when they came out. Kevin Feige was a huge hater. They hated that people were liking them. They hated that they didn't have any influence on that stuff. So they wanted to stay as far away from any of that as possible. But because people liked it, they didn't really have a choice. And so they bring Matt Murdock back as Charlie Cox. They bring him back in No Way Home, and then She-Hulk, I guess. But
that's right.
And then then they do a shit ton of Wilson Fisk stuff in Hawkeye and Echo, I guess.
Yes, they do. And then they all try and cover that up. That never happened in the beginning episode of this show.
They cover up the She-Hulk stuff They mentioned the Echo stuff.
They mentioned the Echo stuff
later on,
but
which I thought was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. And didn't you like get shot in the face?
After the point where Karen and Foggy are pretty much out of the picture, you start seeing where the reshoots start and end. You see what's missing. You see what's come out. The scene in the first episode where where Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk are in the diner, I think is not a reshoot because it was well written.
That was yeah.
Like that was really good. There's moments like that that make me realize, okay, shit, Disney have some idea of what they're doing here. Like, okay, I'm in. That was the scene that drew me into the first episode the most.
Yes.
Like past the fight and the death of Foggy, I was like, this is gonna suck. Like it's got inklings there of stuff that's good, but it's gonna suck. And then I got to that, and I'm like, okay, shit, all right. Maybe the reshoots have covered it up enough that like we're getting good shit now.
Yeah.
First episode, huge letdown. Pace was all over the place. Things were wacky. Characters are just doing fucking whatever. It is a hodgepodge of a pilot that they've essentially slammed together to have everything make sense when they throw in everything later on. Which becomes a good thing that they released 2 episodes because the second episode was a huge step up. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
This one, not as many reshoots. At least not ones that were obvious.
Not that I could notice anyway.
No, yeah. Because this is obviously a setup.
Baller.
Yeah. The ending of that was amazing and 100% not a reshoot because it felt so fucking good. The cinematography, the choreography, just the scene itself was amazing. I love that. The implications for next episode are amazing. Yep. The Punisher tattoos.
Yes.
Like Disney are actually doing something a little bit controversial and are saying something.
Yeah.
I've never been more excited for like a next episode.
And this is another point. Even like watching the show, even that first episode and stuff like that, there are obviously elements in it that were like bad and everything like that. But then that second episode came along and was like, this came from Disney? This is what I'm trying to put in the mindset of things and stuff like that. That this is a Disney show and they're willing to touch upon certain topics now and quite brutal. Yeah. I think this is the most brutal fighting we've seen in any of the Marvel like stuff. Obviously, besides Deadpool and Wolverine, but that was like because they can heal back type thing. That's different. That's a comedy gag. But this is such like a serious tone of a like story and obviously character and everything like that. And being able to like redo Daredevil again type thing in this way was like, oh wow. Like, I wasn't expecting it to go this way with the story they're wanting to tell and stuff like that. I was honestly thinking that this is going to be like another She-Hulk / Miss Marvel thing that is going to like cash grab the character and it's just going to be like this wacky little side adventure. It's just like, no, they like got him just being a lawyer this time around and stuff like that. Then shit happened. He's just like, well, I've got no choice. If I'm going to die, I'm going to kill these guys and like break their arms. And you just see like the bone pop out.
That hurt to watch. Okay, so the reason I do have high hopes for this show is that the Matt Murdock stuff is working a lot better than the Daredevil stuff.
Yes.
Which is a good sign. Because quite often in these things, it's when they're the superhero that is the most exciting. Parts of Moon Knight was when he's actually doing all the Moon Knighty shit that it's amazing. Trying to think, Loki. Like the worst parts of that show was when not a lot was happening. Yeah. But like even that was good. That's probably a bad example.
Yeah.
WandaVision is an example of it being good, where the stuff where it's just Wanda was great. And then when she did all the magic CGI fighty bullshit, it sucked.
Yeah.
Like, and this is not leaning into that, at least not yet. It might.
Yeah.
I guarantee it's going to get more Daredevil-y, punchy CGI later on.
Because there is a character, because they've added in White Tiger, which I love how they integrated this story with White Tiger. I thought that was a really, really kind of cool setup with like how he's actually representing him in court, that he finds out that he is White Tiger. I thought that was kind of funny.
I like that.
That feels like a comic book thing for sure. But also as well, how they've done Wilson Fisk. He's just straight up the mayor, like already. They were just like straight into it. I thought it was still like I thought it would be like the entire thing is running his campaign, and by the end of this season is when he gets elected. But no, it's like straight up first episode. He's the mayor now.
I mean, considering they're already filming the second season, like that would make sense, right?
Exactly. And then we also haven't seen Muse yet, which is going to be another villain. Which I have a few. Have we?
He was the guy at the book signing, 100%. He was the guy at the book signing.
Yeah,
that weirdo?
Yeah, that weirdo.
That's Muse.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I have a theory upon what his character's actually going to do, which is going to change quite a bit of the show to do with Fisk's character.
He's going to do something with Fisk? I got a feeling he's going to kill White Tiger, like at some point.
I have a feeling he's going to kill Vanessa.
You think he's going to kill Vanessa?
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about Vanessa, because she's not quite working yet. She hasn't been doing a lot. She's running the bad behind-the-scenes things. Hasn't had a lot of time to shine.
He's trying to be a normal person.
There's hints at like a bit of infidelity between the two of them.
Yeah,
some off-screen punching or something.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of that hasn't been delved into yet. They're going through therapy though, which I thought was a little funny.
Yeah,
and that definitely felt like
Matt Murdock's girlfriend is the therapist.
See, that's the stuff that makes it feel like they would have played it off for a laugh in the original version of this show.
Yeah,
it's like, look, they're going through therapy, and I honestly think there might as well have been a fucking laugh track.
Yeah,
because of the way they've cut it now, it feels serious, and it's still a little funny moment. You're like, the Kingpin's going to therapy with his wife.
Yeah,
that's funny. But it works for the character.
It works. Yeah,
it works, which is good. Comedy, when it fits the character, works. I mean, you look at Guardians of the Galaxy; they're all idiots, so it works almost every time. Something like this: if Matt Murdock punched Bullseye and was like, "How's that for aim?" after he killed Foggy, like a typical Disney Plus production, I would have been so pissed off.
Yeah,
but it seems like they're handling it well. At least whoever they brought on after they fired everyone is handling it well.
So like that's the I can't find like a definitive budget for this show yet. There's like all these theories.
There's no way they're going to tell us that.
Yeah, because of just how much like reshoots and stuff like that. But that's the thing. I'm very like intrigued. Obviously from the trailer, like I was intrigued. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this stuff. I think it actually looked quite good and stuff like that. Especially like.
But so did the Echo trailer. So I don't go by that anymore.
And this is a thing with a lot of Marvel shows besides Loki. Like they don't hit their landing. You could say like they kind of like fail in the last part of the shows and stuff like that. But hopefully, we do see things because this obviously they have started filming season 2, so they have enough like being like, oh no, this is actually really great. Already start going on season 2. We haven't seen the Punisher yet. John Berthel, I think will pop up soon because obviously we've seen
guarantee it.
But he's also getting his little special like werewolf by night.
Yeah,
he's
they
getting his own
talked
thing.
about that. They liked him so much in doing this season, and that they were like, "Hey, like, there's some stories we can tell here. Let's maybe talk about doing a special presentation."
Because they originally wanted to do a one season. Apparently, they went to John Berthel, were like, "Oh, we want to do just one season with the Punisher," and he was like, "No, I'd rather just tell a condensed story type thing and do like a special about it." Because he's also co-writing the special and everything like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think Punisher in that works perfectly. A lot of Punisher comics are like that. A lot of them are not very long overarching. It's quite often just like down, dirty, gritty, get in, get out, no bullshit sort of stuff. It'll be him shooting corrupt people and saving some people and then just shooting a bunch more people and then just going about his psychopathic ways.
I wonder if they turned him into Ghost Rider.
Why would they do that? That's in
the comics now. That's in the current Marvel
is that
comics.
Current
Frank
comics?
Castle is the new Ghost Rider and the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. It's
Frank
actually
Castle
pretty cool.
would not. He's the one guy that should not be Ghost Rider. Like Will of Justice, nah, man. he should not be Ghost. I've convinced myself. I'm kind of into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is cool. It'll be cool to see him. I hope they don't shy away from the things that they seem to be delving into. In terms of a lot of political beliefs, a lot of morality.
Yes.
A lot of questions. It seems like they were even hinting at racism.
Yes.
Towards the White Tiger character, which I have not quite seen in a while in the MCU. They did not want to get into it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They did a little bit with Isaiah Bradley. Threw that all away in the Cap 4. And oh god, it makes me a little bit happy to know that like Disney are actually like trying to say something with this show rather than sell us some CGI schlop.
Exactly.
Which the first episode had me believing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Who
And
knows?
I feel like that first episode was mainly like they just had to cover up like the wasted money and like edit
100%.
everything in from the first round of doing it.
It's reshoots, cover-ups. They had that episode was just sorry guys, here's everything you need to know before we go into it. Sorry. Which is a shame because, like I said, Disney could have pushed this back another 2 months and fixed the CGI, and it would have worked a lot better. Fix some of the editing and pacing of that. Give it another 6 months. Fuck it. It's Daredevil. People wait 6 months for that shit. Like, what else have you got coming out this year? Nothing that ties into it. Who cares? Like, that pisses me off a little bit. But it's Disney.
Yeah.
So we don't have
Disney.
a say in it.
Yeah.
Creators don't have a say in it. Creative team. Fuck them. We'll see how it goes.
Hopefully they stick the landing on this and we'll see how that goes. But before we end tonight's podcast, obviously I have started a little quiz show about topics relating to the podcast, because now we're just like trying to sort out so we only really talk about one big thing and give that our total review. So tonight's quiz, welcome back everybody to the bad movie descriptions quiz, and it's seeing the knowledge of Clayton. I gotta find a better title.
Name.
I need a catchy name.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had last week's one was quite funny to watch. I gave you so many clues for that, and even one of them it was a film you directed and made, and you couldn't even remember the title for.
We don't need to talk about it.
Which I was laughing my head off, which was absolutely great. But this week. It's a bit easier for you. I've got.
Is it?
They're going to be Adrian Brody and Guy Pearce films.
That does not help.
Mix of
I'm
both.
sorry.
A mix of
that
both.
Does not help.
I know you should be able to get one of them.
The pianist. That's my guess.
Done straight away. All right. So let's start with the first one. Some unlucky people wake up in a jungle and realize they're not the top of the food chain.
I'm guessing this is a Guy Pearce movie.
No.
Adrian Brody was in like a jungle movie?
Yeah, he was.
Oh.
And we talked about this the other day when we were just watching the Oscars.
See, man, I was zoned out for most of that show. Oh, God. You have to give me another clue here, Barry.
You could say it's probably his worst film that he's done.
That also doesn't narrow it down, dude.
Arnold Schwarzenegger also made a film about this.
It was it's which one? Predators. That's right.
You got it.
It's one of those. Which one is it? Is it with the S?
Yeah, with the S. Yeah.
I do remember talking about that, and I also remember blocking it from my and even being confused about it then because I forgot that movie existed out of maybe sheer willpower, forgetting that it existed. I'm okay with not getting
the next one. All right. A man and his dog travel across a wasteland while fighting off weird guys with bad hygiene.
Bad hygiene?
This is a Guy Pearce movie with the Batman in it.
With Christian Bale?
No.
Pattinson?
Not Bale.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, cross a wasteland with a dog.
This is actually an Australian film, I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure?
I'm pretty sure it actually was filmed here.
Dog. See, it's not...
Yes, it is. This is an Australian film.
Wasteland with a dog and bad hygiene. This is tough. This is a tough one.
Came out in 2014.
2014.
Just don't think of the dog. The dog isn't
That's what
important
I'm
whatsoever.
I'm stumped on the dog.
Just think Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson out in the Australian outback.
God, I'm fucking terrible at this. Give me another clue.
I don't know what else to say. I thought you could get it from that.
Oh, Barry, you know me so well.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you a wrong buzzer for that one.
Oh, what? That's bullshit.
It's the Rover.
Bullshit. Can't
You
press
don't know
the
what the
button like
Rover
that.
is? I gave you a hint. I gave you a hint.
You didn't give me a good enough hint. I blame the judges on that one. Judges' bad decisions.
Wow. All right.
I hope you guys are doing better at this than me.
You should be able to get this one.
The pianist.
A cop spends way too much time worrying about Hollywood gossip instead of solving crimes.
Hollywood gossip instead of solving crimes.
So a Guy Pearce film set in LA.
Set in LA. He's been in like 40.
He's not the main character of this film, though. Russell Crowe is. But Guy Pearce is also
Nice Guys? You seen the Nice Guys?
No.
It's something.
It also has Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey. Oh my god. Hollywood. Kevin Spacey. I don't like thinking about Kevin Spacey. The detectives.
The first two letters are LA.
No. It's LA Confidential.
Hey!
I was stumped on Kevin Spacey. I watched American Beauty for the first time the other night. So that spun me out.
Yeah, that's a film.
Oh boy.
Okay, let's go back to an Adrian Brody
I'm great at
film.
this. The pianist.
Man gets obsessed with a train robbery and makes it everyone's problem.
Train robbery?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know any Adrian Brody films. This is bullshit. Train robbery?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you see this one. It has Mark Ruffalo and Rachel Weisz in it as well.
Snowpiercer. If he was Chris Evans.
It's the title. First two letters are the brothers. But there's a third
brothers.
letter.
That's not letters. Those are words.
Well, words. Sorry.
The brothers Grimm. The brothers bad. The brothers Train. Brothers Robert Train. Adrian Brody and his brother Robert Train.
The Brothers Bloom, a 2008 film.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back to another one. A rich guy builds a super suit, but this guy takes it way too personally. It's a Guy Ritchie film.
Iron Man 2.
No.
Iron Man 3.
There we go.
I was like, was it the second one or the third one he was in? Because they made him look really ugly and it was really funny.
Yeah. All right. Man gets a bad haircut and immediately forgets everything. This is probably, you mentioned this film a lot with the certain director that it is, because if I say the director, you're probably going to get it straight away.
I wonder what film this is. If only I could remember. Maybe if I wrote it down somewhere, I'd remember. Let me check my palm of my hand. It's Memento?
No. It's Memento.
I forgot. It's Memento. Sorry, I forgot.
Wait a minute. All right. I think it's the final one for tonight.
Pianist. It's the pianist. Man plays piano.
A guy is left alone by himself.
The pianist.
You got it.
Yeah, mention the piano.
Is a guy wants to play piano, but history keeps getting in his way.
That's not the description you read out. You are a cheating judge. You are a cheater.
Exactly.
This game was forfeit. I win by default.
Rigged. You still
win
won
by default.
You still won more points than losses this time. You only
I'll
lost
take that.
one.
I don't even have to defend myself. Last time I had to defend myself because of the amount of clues you were giving me. This time I don't.
Exactly. But next time though, I don't know what it's gonna be about, but I'm not gonna give you any clues. So you gotta race.
What?
I'll give it to you right now. I would tell you whatever film we're watching next time and stuff like that. I will let you know who it's gonna be and then what I'm gonna base these questions on. so that you have a fighting chance next time.
Oh, I'm not going to do any research, and it's going to be exactly the same.
Exactly the same. It's going to be funny.
I hope everyone at home is better than me at this game.
They probably are. They probably are.
All right. I think that's the end of the episode.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Let us know how many points you got out of it all and everything like that. Let us know if you have watched The Brutalist and what are your thoughts on it. Leave it all in the description in the comments. Wherever you find us, we're everywhere now. And hope to see you all in the next episode. Catch you then.
Brutalist, more like the boringest.
I'm gonna cut that. I'm sorry. That's bad.